Welcome back to Motivation Mondays. Pew, 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 pew. This is where we reflect on the week that passed and think about all the things that we are grateful for, but also all the things that we would like to change in the week ahead. This is a judgment-free zone. Yes, we will get into some deep topics from time to time, and yes, we might, throw a few F-bombs here and there, just to let the bitches know. But at the end of the day, we're just here to encourage each other to try new things, be our best selves, and to be reminded that it's okay. In life, there are mistakes, And all we need to do is just try our best each day, put one foot in front of the other, and see where life takes us. So sit back, relax, and let's get into today's topic. Hello, lovers and friends, and we're back. So, today we're going to keep it easy breezy, nice and light. And today we're going to talk about how closed mouths don't get fed. Yeah? And it's all tied up with, first of all, understanding that no one is coming to save you, baby girl. Not a damn soul. I'm telling you now. The streets are dry. There's no one on their way, in a rush, zooming through the streets to try and save you from your situation. Because you are the hero of your story. You are the villain. You are the narrator. You are even the NPC characters on the side there. You're all of it. You're the center of your universe. So to expect someone else who's also the center of their own universe to now come and step in because they've got some divine what to come and save you, girl, it's not happening. I'm telling you this right now. It's not happening. There isn't some knight in shining armor that is going to fight their way up a castle where you're just sitting there huffing and, deep sighing and, when is my guy gonna come? No, bitch, no. That's not how we operate here in these streets, okay? You're going to have to figure out a way to get down, right? You're going to have to figure out a way to send a message out. If you really cannot get yourself out of this thing, sure. But you're going to have to figure out a way to communicate that to the people around you. Make sure that the message goes to the right person, right? And then trust and believe. And in the meantime, take steps to make it easier so that you're at least meeting this person halfway when they come and help you. That you're not just sitting on your hands and when they arrive, they found that you've done not a damn thing. That you didn't even bother to get up to check if the door's locked. Do you get what I mean? So, yeah, this is a very intense and fiery start to today's episode, and that was not the intention at all. But I think this is more so coming from a point of frustration at this point. Frustration with myself, but then also frustration with, friends and people that I'm close to, where I'm seeing them, right, not take action, right, not, take autonomy over their lives, that they're just sitting around and they're waiting for someone else to step in and tell them what to do. They're waiting for someone else to give them permission to take steps in their own best interest. And that just doesn't make sense to me. To put your whole life on hold because you are waiting for someone else to give you permission to do what you think is right for you? No. That's not how we're operating in this world. And I definitely understand where that comes from. It could be, intense self-doubt. It could be, just how you were raised and how you're conditioned to think, that maybe this is a really difficult decision, and for once in your life you're being selfish and you're worried, right, about what other people are going to think of you once you make this decision, because it's something that only benefits you and isn't benefiting sort of the collective. And that also ties into the whole people pleaser issue. I know. I keep teasing this people pleaser topic, and I promise I will, but it's going to be addressed in multiple parts. You know what I mean? So I think it's best that we just lay down the groundwork now, and see the different tethers that connect to this larger issue. But yeah, there could be a lot of reasons why people would prefer to take a back seat in their own lives and allow other people to take charge, because then it means that you are not responsible for anything, right? There are no consequences. And you ensure that you're always in someone's favor, right? Because you're allowing them to have complete control over you, and therefore they will always kind of keep you in their pocket, because who doesn't want to control someone, For whatever the reason is, no, we're not about that life anymore. Okay? We are in the driver's seat, and I need to find better examples outside of driving, but I do a lot of driving on a day-to-day basis, so sorry. But you are the one. You are the center of this universe. You are the one who decides how much love there is in your life, how much joy there is in your life. Just you are the one who is in control of all of that. And as stressful and as scary as that sounds, oh Jesus, I know. It is so scary, because then every decision and every consequence falls on you. And you might be stuck in this weird place of decision-making fatigue, or paralyzed by the anxiety that comes with having so many options and not sure, which direction to go into. But the upside, right, or the benefit of that is that you don't have to suffer in situations that you don't like. When you're in control, you choose when you want to leave. When you want a certain behavior, a certain situation to stop, you can literally be like, no, I don't want this in my fucking life. And you can exit. You can exit stage left and fuck off. And everyone else who's deciding to play along and, keep the show going, they will survive. They will figure it out, right? They will decide for themselves what they want to do with their lives. And here you are in charge of your life. That's all you need to do, is be in charge of your life and take full ownership of that. Take full ownership of the fact that this is your life and you have complete control over this life. So why not take action and make decisions that lead you towards the life that you want? Why not focus on the things that bring you joy? You know what I mean? Do you want a life full of love and joy and adventure? Yes. Okay. So then, what are you going to do about it then? Are you going to wait for someone to come and bring you love? Are you going to wait for someone to come along and, bring out your adventurous side? No. And yes, I completely understand sort of not wanting to do things alone and blah, 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 especially if you're single. Trust me, I know. But you know what's kind of weird? Is that in every situation where I've been too afraid to do something, or really wanting someone else to go with me, to be that sort of safety blanket or whatever, I found that, number one, choosing not to do the thing that I wanted to do didn't make me feel any better. I was still sitting at home thinking about the thing that I wanted to do but didn't do because I was such a little bitch, and now here I am. The day has gone. My opportunity, I have missed it once again, and I'm miserable, right? And if I don't have anyone in my life who's willing to do these things, right? Because obviously you can't force everyone to be into everything that you're into. But I mean, trust and believe. If you just go and do the thing that you want to do, you will meet people who like those things there. That's literally the only place, the best place to find people who like what you like, to go do the thing that you like. Even if it's a simple thing like going to the shop to buy wool, and you, instead of going to Checkers and buying that cheap ass wool that they have, you're going to go to a proper craft store where they have all the wool in the world and whatever, and then start talking to strangers. Say, oh, what's your project? What is this for? That's such a nice color. I'm actually torn between these two colors. What do you think? And that's literally what I've done many, many times. I have been single and been alone for a very long time. And people find it very hard to believe that I'm introverted. I really am. Oh, oh. I'm only sort of this animated and excited and whatever because I'm alone at home. But if I had to be out here in these streets, it takes me a long time to kind of like warm up to the environment. And I'm not going to be there for that long because it sucks the life out of me. But I go. I go anyway. I will go alone. The only thing that stops me now is like safety concerns, right? Like I would really love to go hiking and do all these cool things, but you know, being out in the wilderness by yourself, especially because I don't have family, or like this past month I didn't have like any friends or family in the same city. Everyone was like off out and about. It does get really concerning, you know, like if I fall or if something happens, that there's no one in the area to step in and help. So yeah, there are those concerns and it does bum me out a little, but then I will like go to a local park or go to somewhere that's a little more populated where there's an easier exit strategy, and I try to sort of compromise to make sure that I at least feel safe, but that, you know, I'm still doing the thing that I want to do. And yeah, sometimes I worry about like, oh, people are gonna see my fat ass huffing and puffing up the hill. And yeah, sometimes those thoughts also sort of threaten to stop me from doing the thing that I want to do. But I listen, I have my headphones in, I avoid eye contact. Like I have a strategy to quell whatever voice is trying to tell me not to go. Because I'm not going to dismiss my concerns, right? And say, oh, you're being silly. Just get over it. Because it doesn't work, right? That voice just gets louder. But instead, I'm like, okay, cool. This is the best that I can do to negotiate or to accommodate this concern. But I'm not going to let this concern stop me from doing what I want to do, right? And yes, I've gotten into the weeds now with this hiking situation. But it's an analogy for everything else you want to do in your life, right? That if there are things that are in your way, right? Don't just throw in the towel and say, oh, well, I guess maybe, if only, and you just sit there wishing on a star. You have real powers in your life. If you ever want to feel like a superhero, if you ever want to feel like you have the power to predict the future, that you are just, you know, then take an active role in your life. Say, okay, I want to be sort of a happier person, let's say. Nothing wild, right? I just want to have a better mindset. I want to be a happier person. I want to have a calm and peaceful life. That's what I want for myself. And now I'm going to work for it. Right? I'm not going to just sit here and wish on it. I'm actually going to work for it. What is stressing me out here? What can I unsubscribe from? What can I eliminate here to reduce my stress? What can I do to help myself manage my stress better, right? Because maybe it's not the stressful elements, it's more so that in my mind, I am triggered by too many things, right? That everything stresses me out. Therefore, I need to work on my stress management skills, right? I need to assess the sort of alarm system in my brain and the fact that it might be a little overly sensitive and do the work necessary to deal with that, right? That, like, okay, cool, I've learned this thing about myself. And it's because I want peace and I'm going to keep going for it. And it's going to be hard, right? You're going to have to undo a lot of the things that you've allowed into your universe, right? By being a passive member in your life, by insisting on being in the passenger seat of your own car, you've allowed a lot of nonsense in, and it's going to take you a very long time and a lot of effort to get rid of each and every one of those things, so that this landscape that you're creating, this environment that you are shaping, that it can finally resemble a life that you want, right? And the thing is, once you get there, you'll be like, wunderbar, this looks great, this feels great, but actually I think the sofa would look better there. I know. I said I want the sofa to be here, but now I think I want the sofa to be there. And you can move the fucking sofa and then take a step back and look at it. Sit in the sofa for a little bit. Give it a try and be like, I like this. And then you look around the room and you're like, but now I can't really see the TV that nicely because there's a glare coming from the window. Do I move the sofa? Do I move the TV? What to do? Okay, got it. Let me move. You can change your mind, basically, is what I'm saying. You can change your mind as many times as you like. You don't have to make a final declaration of this is who I am. Me, Lebu, the Buddhist pescatarian, This is who I am and this is who I will be forever till I die. No. Right now, I'm a Buddhist pescatarian, and that's not true, right? But it's an example. Let's say right now I am a Buddhist pescatarian, sure, and I want to follow all the rules and everything, and that's my vibe, right? That's it. And then at some point I give it a try, and for whatever reason, whatever led me to this life choice, at some point it might serve its purpose and I might no longer need these things in my life anymore. I might outgrow these things, or having been misinformed on my way to this thing, I've now decided to pivot. I've received more information, I've reflected, or after a few experiences I've realized it's not what I thought it would be, and that's fine. Now I pivot, now I change, now I get rid of the sofa, now I move the sofa, whatever, but it is my life, and you do not have to feel, not it's my life, but it's your life, right? It's your life, and you don't have to feel trapped by any situation, a relationship, a job, whatever. And there are many times where I feel trapped by my body, right? There are many things that I want to do, but then I can't do it because of this fucking body. There are many situations, like things that I want to wear, places that I want to go. And then I worry that my body will be an issue. There are people that I want to talk to. There are opportunities that I want to jump and take, but then I think, as a fat person, or nobody's gonna, what? I'm already thinking all these things. And number one, there's nothing that's actually written down or being declared saying that I shouldn't, that I couldn't, that I can't, right? Obviously, there's some things that have like weight limits. And then, I have to check the weight limit and see if I can or can't. But then even then, say, okay, cool. I'm going to go anywhere. I'm going to go see. Let me test this theory out. I'm out here thinking that my body is stopping me from doing many things. And maybe I'm using my body as a crutch to avoid what I'm actually afraid of there. Do you get what I mean? And that being fat is just a low-hanging fruit, and I'm grabbing that as an excuse. But actually, the deeper issue is that I am afraid of being seen, right? I'm afraid of the attention that I might receive if I actually succeed at something. I am I suffer from imposter syndrome, and I don't feel deserving of that position, that I don't feel deserving of, accolades or whatever, that I'm afraid that I will be judged, right? Um, I'm afraid that I'll be rejected. I'm afraid of whatever. And instead, I'm just saying, like, fat people don't do that or whatever, and just blame it on my body, right? Instead of actually addressing that, what? First of all, my size has nothing to do with this job that I'm applying for. My size has nothing to do with this thing that I want to do, right? I want to go swim in a public pool. I want to go to the beach in a bikini. If I can find a bikini that fits, then what's the problem? I'm not committing a crime. Yes, people are going to judge. People judge all the time. So why am I going to let that stop me from living my life? Because they are not at the center of my life. I am. And if I'm going to let those other people's opinions control and influence how I'm going to run my life, then I'll have no choice. And again, I go back to being in the passenger seat, and that is not happening anymore because you got this. You are fully capable of taking control of your life and doing what you need to do to make your life the best life that you have, because you only get one chance at this life. This is your only chance. And do you really want to look back at your life and to find that your life is a result of other people's choices and other people's opinions, that you never took ownership of your life, that you never took the steering wheel and said, I'm going to take us to where we're going to go, that you're going to sit with all this regret and all these unmet desires that you could have met yourself, that you were fully capable of meeting yourself, but instead decided to sit there starved of all these things, suffering unnecessarily. And you know what? I understand the mind is a crazy thing. The mind will have us convinced of the wildest things. Your mind will be out here convincing you that you are absolutely unlovable and that anyone who claims to love you is lying. And you will believe it to be as true as the sky being blue. And there's nothing anyone can tell you to convince you otherwise. That's that. So now what do you do when your mind has convinced you that you are incapable of running your own life? What do you do when your mind is convincing you that, yeah, actually, you're not good enough? That you cannot figure a way out of this, that you're not smart enough to make a plan to create the life that you want. What do you do when your mind tells you that you don't deserve the life that you want for yourself? So you work in conjunction with this part of your mind to affirm that idea, right? That you actively seek out opportunities to affirm this negative belief that you have about yourself, instead of actively seeking out ways to disprove that thought, right? Because you've already accepted it to be true. Therefore, there's nothing to question. There's nothing to debate. And yeah, that is, in some ways, that is where I'm at as well. As much as I'm here hooting and hollering and getting all fired up about take charge and this is your life and blah, 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 blah. And yes, I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying it to myself. And that is the purpose of this podcast. I am not some guru who has gone through every obstacle in life and I figured it out and I've come back to show you the way out of your own bullshit. I am swimming in the bullshit right now. I'm sitting and looking at my life and I am pissed. I am pissed and I'm disgusted by the fact that I've allowed a lot of things to run rampant in my life as if I'm not fucking in charge here. Because I am. I am in charge, but I'm not taking up the mantle that comes with being a boss bitch in this situation. I'm making silly choices based on silly things, on incorrect beliefs. Because here I am self sabotaging. Here I am relying on weird and fucked up coping mechanisms that don't even fit my life anymore. That I understand that at some point they were useful, but this is not the time. But here I am now, watching myself do these things. And it's like an outer body experience where you kind of just sit back and you're just like, wow, girl, wow, really? Really? We're gonna do that? Why? And you don't even have a clear why. You can't even justify your actions because you know what you're doing is bullshit. You know you're on some bullshit, but still, you're doing it. You're just watching yourself do it. You're operating on autopilot. That time the settings are all the way fucked up. So, no. This far and no further. I am tired. I am tired. Oh, Jesus, I am tired. And I really hope you're tired too. I really hope you are tired of looking at your life and being surprised by the outcomes as if you are not a contributing factor to the outcomes that you are seeing right now. That your life is a consequence of your actions. Not every part of your life, obviously, we live in this society, you know what I mean? And there are structural issues and racism and, classism and and yes, those factors, they apply. But you need to be able to identify where exactly those things are affecting you because it's not affecting you everywhere. And just like how I maybe use being fat as an excuse to not even try certain things or as an excuse as to why maybe I didn't get certain things right, when actually maybe it's because I just wasn't prepared enough, right? That I didn't put enough effort into it because I'd already accepted that I wasn't going to get it. So I didn't put in the effort, right? And maybe that's why I got rejected because, as mentioned earlier, the brain is going to orchestrate and seek out things that confirm the beliefs that you have. This guy on his bike every day, he's zooming up and down this road with his noisy ass bike, and I'm sick of it. And instead of complaining, the best thing I can do is move, if that is possible. If it isn't possible, then I need to make peace with it or walk around with headphones and listen to my jams instead of listening to him. I have choices. I'm just trying to reiterate this point. But yeah, the brain, because you have this belief about yourself and you're going to constantly seek out ways to affirm and confirm this belief, that's how you find yourself then self-sabotaging, right? And then you're like, oh, well, look, you see, you didn't make it in because obviously when that time you left it to the last minute, you didn't even put in your best efforts. And you know what? Even if you do put in your best efforts and you don't get the results that you want, that doesn't make you a failure, right? There's stiff competition out here in these streets. And it doesn't mean that because you want something, you're going to get it. So instead of, going into a spiral of self-loathing and all of that stuff, just accept that, you know what, that's life and that's okay. I'm going to keep trying because I deserve good things. And this is something that I really want. And I'm going to work for it, right? I'm not saying that by, taking charge of your life that suddenly everything that you want is going to happen. But by taking charge of your life, you put the gears in motion. You place the right gears in the right sequence, and then you out there cranking that little crank thing to get everything moving. It's not going to happen overnight, but it starts with you taking ownership over your life. It starts with you getting in the driver's seat and deciding to take charge, because it's never going to happen if you're going to wait for someone else to come and save you, because no one is coming, babes. No one is coming. We're all sitting on our own little hamster wheel, running around going nowhere because we're waiting for someone else to tell us to get off. We're waiting for someone else to tell us to stop, and that actually the cage isn't even closed. You can walk out anytime. But you don't know this, you don't believe this, and this is the cage of the mind. Oh my gosh, this could be a topic all on its own on how the mind traps you, especially because I've been reading this other book, and it's just, it's an intense book. It's really intense, triggering from beginning to end, but if you can power through it, it's also very eye-opening and allows you to give yourself grace in so many areas where you feel like, because sometimes you don't even know. You think you're in control of your life, right? And you think that you're actively making choices against your best interests, right? And then the amount of self-hate and, flagellation that comes with all of that can be really frustrating. But then if you get to a point where you realize that your brain is a culmination of all your life's experiences, and that actually maybe how you are perceiving things is warped by your past traumas, by how you've been raised, by society and everything else that you've been told, that your current neural pathways are incapable of making new choices, right? And that you need to actively work against your brain to create new choices, that it's not just a matter of having a positive mindset, that it's not just a matter of, just say your affirmations in the mirror 3 times and you got it. That sometimes it does mean, maybe being medicated. Sometimes it means maybe you have to reach out to a therapist, and sometimes there is no therapist, right? You can't afford it. I know for damn sure that I can't. Oh, Jesus, I can't. But like finding someone, going to a religious leader or whoever, right? Finding someone who can act as that person for you to just talk, to say your thoughts out loud, to have someone that you can bounce them off of, to say like, no, girl, not everyone is thinking like that. I don't even see this thing that you're talking about, and actually take them seriously. Don't assume that they're lying because they perceive things differently, right? That this is an opportunity for you to explore a different perception, a different way of thinking. That how about I put that hat on and see what works for me. And that's the sofa that keeps moving around. You don't have to be committed to a single thought. And that's how we are as people, right? We like to categorize things, and we want things to be, permanently there because it makes us feel safe and it makes us feel like we understand the world. But the world is not meant to be understood. All you need to do is understand yourself and take the time and the effort that is required for you to know yourself well enough to be able to trust yourself, well enough for you to be able to actually make changes in your life. So maybe the first step of taking ownership of your life is actually understanding yourself. Understanding yourself and taking that work, putting in the work to understand yourself, to make changes within yourself before you try and make changes in your environment. Because sometimes your environment is a reflection of your internal environment. That if you do not feel at peace within yourself, if there's certain elements of yourself or your internal sort of psyche that needs to be addressed, it will show up in your external environment, right? You will see signs and symptoms of that internal struggle, right? So I'm not going to take too much of your time. This is definitely going to be a short one. I'm wrapping up right now. What I'm suggesting that we take into the next week is just to, once again, take a step back and look at our lives. Take a step back and look at our lives and see, have I been an active participant in this outcome? Whatever it is, right? In my, let's say, for example, with my size, right? Have I been intentional with everything that I eat? Have I been intentional about my movement? Have I been intentional about my hormone regulation? Have I really invested in taking care of my body, taking the best care of my body, right? And if the answer is yes, then great. You know what I mean? Maybe my definition, if I'm still not happy, if I'm still not healthy, right? Then maybe my definition of care, right, is maybe warped, and I need to maybe investigate like how maybe my definition of caring for my body, is incongruous with what my body actually needs, right? So maybe I need to speak to a nutritionalist. Maybe, whatever. Be it your job, right? Or the quality of work that you're producing, right? Is it like a laziness? Are you not giving yourself enough time? Why are you not giving yourself enough time? Are you disorganized? Are you bombarded with a lot of things? Are you getting enough sleep? Every little thing. Is this a conscious choice? Is my sleep cycle something that I created? Or is my sleep cycle just a result of my environment? Like I don't have a consistent sleep time because my life is just a mess and it's just all over the place. And do I like living a life like that? Yes or no? And if no, then what am I going to do about it? And if I've tried to change it in the past, but it just never works, then maybe I need to try something new. Maybe I need to reach out and ask for help. And this is where we circle back to the beginning where I say closed mouths don't get fed. You have to speak up and ask for help. Google, go online. Like the internet is a wonderful place where you can be convinced that you're dying tomorrow just because you had a suspicious cough in the morning. But it's also a great place to meet and connect with people who are in the same situation that you're in, and you can learn from the things that they've tried, right? Go onto Reddit and read all the things that people are writing and use your own discernment to decide, what you're going to take and what you're going to leave. If that feels a little too wild for you, go onto like professional platforms, right? There are a lot of medical professionals, nutritionalists, and everyone who's moved their information and their practices online. So the information is all there, and you can then go to reputable sources and find other solutions. But you have to go out. You have to extend your hand out into the ether and find the information that you need to make the changes that you need. Reach out to the people that you need to support you. Talk to your friends, the people who say they love you, the people who say they care and that they're willing to help you. Tell them your goals and say, listen, there's this facet of my life that I've been ashamed to even share with you, that I've been ashamed to even talk about. But there's this thing in my life that I want to change, and I need your help. I need your help to keep me accountable. I need your help with looking for ideas. I need your help with this, that, and be specific. Don't just say, oh, I need your support, Chomi. Oh, Chomiza, please support me. No. What support do you specifically need? This is what I need. An itemized list. Give people the option to be like, okay, cool, I can help you with this, this, and this, but I can't do that, that, and that. Then fine. I'm gonna look for someone else, right? Accept help from strangers if necessary, right? But you are trying to build the life that you want, and it requires making really hard decisions, putting yourself in really uncomfortable positions. Because if you remember a couple of episodes back where we spoke about a tolerance to pain and a tolerance to suffering, sometimes the only reason why you're uncomfortable is because you're not used to being treated well. And that's what's uncomfortable for you. And you need to look that in the eye and the reality of that and the honesty of that and say, there's nothing wrong that's happening here. Absolutely nothing wrong that's happening here. I'm just uncomfortable because I don't think I'm not used to being treated like this. I'm not used to being in a situation where I'm not being exploited, where I'm not being used, where I don't have to earn affection, right? That I'm somehow finding myself in spaces where I'm enough. Nobody's making me question my value. I'm being celebrated openly, and that my work and my efforts and whatever are being appreciated and rewarded, and that I'm in a reciprocal situation, and it's scary. So what are we going to do? Again, you're in the driver's seat now. Are you going to run away? Or are you going to sit in that discomfort so that the next time it happens, it's not as uncomfortable and you can sit in it longer until you get to a point where now this is your new normal? Because again, you are in the driver's seat. You can create your new normal. That what is normal to you now doesn't have to be normal to you forever, especially if it's not something you actually like, especially if it's not something that brings love and joy and peace and all these other things that you want in your life. If these things that you are used to are directly the direct opposite of the things that you want, then some things have to die. Some things have to die, some things have to fall by the wayside, and sometimes those things are parts of yourself. The parts of yourself that you cannot carry into the next phase of your life. The parts of yourself that need to be removed to make space for new versions of you that have a higher tolerance for love and care, for a new version of you that has the courage to advocate for themselves, a new version of you that understands and believes that you are worth fighting for. Because the current version of you doesn't see you, doesn't see your value, doesn't appreciate all that you have to offer in this life. And this current version of you is not needed. They've served their purpose and it's time for you to let them go. So yeah, that's this week. We're doing a little assessment of our lives, of our internal environment, of our external environment, and making a list of who's on the retrenchment list and who we need to hire and what skills they need and where we're going to find these people, right? Not actual people, right? But where we're going to find these skills that we need to instill in ourselves. And how are we going to get there? So yes, lovers and friends, this is another hectic but not so hectic situation. We need to do a self-audit. That's what we need to do, babes. So yeah, another short one, not super short. It was feeling pretty short in the beginning, but we made it here nonetheless. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. I really hope that this, lights a fire under your bums, and really makes you reassess. Even if you think that you're operating in the most intentional, sort of mindful way, there are always blind spots. There are always blind spots, and it's always great to just stop and check in with yourself and see where you are and appreciate the progress that you've made. That is always great, and that always adds momentum to the journey, adds fuel to the fire, but it's good. It's good to check and look for things to be grateful for, but also two, look for things, areas of improvement where we can do better, where we can be better, right? And again, sometimes it means losing relationships, letting go of certain people in your life who just, aren't operating in the same wavelength, who aren't interested in changing their environment. And you can't drag other people along with you. It is unfortunate. But sometimes by insisting on saving them, you're killing yourself. And again, technically, they're not even in your universe. It's just you here in this universe. You need to take care of everyone who's here on your little universe. And everyone who's in your universe are all the versions of you that have been waiting for you to save them. This is your chance. I will see you next week. I love you. And I can go on forever on this topic because, damn it, I am fired up. This situation with my friend is getting on my nerves. And it's making me think like maybe the reason why I'm perturbed by it is because I'm facing a part of myself that also does the same thing. And I'm angry more at myself than I am at my friend. So I'm having this conversation with you so that I can take out this anger and turn it into something productive and not just make a podcast about it, but also hold myself accountable to this. So have a good week. I love you so much. And see you next week. Bye. Alrighty, So we have come to the end of our episode. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your support. Please like, share, and subscribe, and rate the podcast if you think it's a 5-star situation. If it's not, then by all means email me. Don't put the rating there. Email me and give me a chance to improve. But either way, I love interacting with people and their comments. So I'd greatly appreciate it if you did comment. What did you think of today's episode? Anything that touched your spirit, anything that you want to sort of take on into the next week, I'd really appreciate that. Next week we are going to talk about being single. I know, and it's going to be a 2-parter because I am trying to keep these brief. But we'll talk about a book that I read on being single in the first part, and part 2 we'll talk about my experience. So we will mix the two up a bit. We'll see how that goes. But thank you so much and have a great week. Bye.